So today is International Peace Day, 21st of September, and it was on International Peace Day that my peace adventures began, so to say. I was invited to a gathering for the International Peace Day in Växjö, Sweden, to hold a lecture together with 4-5 other guests. The title of my lecture was "Everything Can Be Solved with a Little Violence, in Search of the Lost Nuances of the Good War and the Bad Peace." Obviously, that was a provocative title, intentionally, because I think we need provocation of the type that wakes us up. To what? To the condition that actually peace is not good enough and war is too good. So how is war too good? When I sat on the stage, I had this vision that if this had not been a peace day, but it had been a gathering for the release of a new violent computer game, everything had been different. The hall would be filled with people. There would be energy, enthusiasm. Yes, let's do it. And there would have been a sense of importance. Yes, this is important. We like this very much. We care very much about this new game. Computer games are, in a big perspective, very unimportant. Peace is very important. But this was upside down. Very few people turned up. They looked tired. There was no sense of energy. Also, the group that invited me told me that yes, there had been very little activity from the members through the year. Everybody was kind of tired. So this is not good peace. When peace does not really get enthusiasm from us, but it makes us, if we're honest, kind of tired. Yeah, peace is important, but it's not my table. Then we do have a problem. And when a new warlike, violent computer game gathers so much people, so much energy, so much enthusiasm, then we also see that, yes, it is a kind of good war that we are talking about. There's a big misunderstanding about peace and war. We think of peace and war as opposites. I think that peace and war are on the same continuum. They are on the opposite poles of a continuum which has many, many stages. So this black-white thinking is not going to help us. When I say that we have a lot of good war, I don't mean that we have a lot of good killing and good bombing and good missiles and good torture. I mean, if this is the extreme of the continuum where we do have all these things, then we must look at this part, the kind of gray part, where we have lots of violent energies that are not going to result in killing, but are still, in a milder way, violent, and still warlike. I call these things war seeds, and I think it's unavoidable, if we are to get peace, to recognize these war seeds in ourselves. In this hypothetical example of the gathering for a release of a computer game, we would have lots of warlike energies, lots of war seeds in the audience, enjoying playing things that have to do with killing and conflict and war. I don't say this is criminal and bad, but it's noteworthy. it's, I think, very important to see that this kind of grey area where we do enjoy the energies of conflict and war, and maybe even the idea of killing. I mean, think about action movies. Think about the movie Kill Bill. I mean, that's war seats. And everything will be better and more clear if we understand that war seats are very much around, and we very much enjoy war seats. Now, let's look about the bad peace. And with bad, I mean poor, unclear, not understood, not creating energy, not creating enthusiasm. The biggest fault with peace, the biggest obstacle, in a way, is that we don't understand peace. Even a small child on the street has a rather clear picture about war. His parents, adults, intelligent adults, have very muddy pictures about peace. Generally, I would say, as a civilization, we have very muddy pictures about peace. What is it? Yes, we can say, we can have pictures about doves flying, we can have, people in love, people working together in cooperation. That's peace. We can have festivals, we can have music and singing and dancing. But peace is also going out with the garbage. It's also doing the dishes. It's also standing in line for the bus in rain. That's also peace. So peace is kind of everything else than war. It's not good enough, people. It needs to be clear. I mean, imagine that we have got an address. We are supposed to get to, say, Param Param Param. But we don't know if Param 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 is a city, a village, a mountain, a lake, a continent, or a planet. So how are we going to get there? What is our first step when we don't even know what it is? And in a similar way with peace, we don't really know what it is, but we want to have it, we want to create it. Another problem with peace, another thing that makes it bad and poor, is that peace is supposedly the job of organizations. We think in terms of organizations when we think about peace work or peace efforts. But organizations are groups, unavoidably bureaucratic, more or less. They are practicing groupthink. They are going in established footsteps. This is how peace work is. This is what peace work is. This is what we are doing. Not much creativity, originality, and really novel thinking around, because those things come from individuals, from strong, intelligent individuals who really can think outside many boxes, not just talk about thinking outside the box, which the organizations do, but cannot really accomplish in practice. So if this strikes a chord with you, follow the adventures of the Venusian Peace Project. There's a lot of musical thinking involved here. I do believe that, and this is also a very strange idea for us, but I do believe that a very clear and very strong model for peace is found in music and in music making. But this is not the usual cliché peace thought that you will hear. I do think that we need to get out of our peace box. We need to think really outside our usual peace box. And we can see that our thinking so far is not very successful. It's not really stopping war. And partly because war in its black and grey varieties is so enjoyable in many ways. It's so interesting. That's why you see it all the time in the news. And that's why we also watch the news. I mean, if nobody watched the news about war and conflict and crisis, then they would stop. They wouldn't show it. But they know that we are interested. Why is that? Because it is gathering our interest. Now let's try to build a peace that is at least as interesting, at least as enjoyable, at least as positive and real, not just an absence, as war is today.